Good morning and a very warm welcome back to the Sunday morning 7 a.m. club. I'm Faye Chappell, and last week we tapped into that beautiful new notebook energy. That was September, right? But what happens when we start writing in that notebook? And by the end of the day, despite being busy, the page feels, it feels kind of empty, right? So that's what we're exploring today. Our theme is Beyond Busy, a gentle reset for when your efforts don't match your feelings. So this is for anyone who has ever had a day packed with activity only to lay their head down on the pillow and say, what did I actually do today? How we start our Sunday sets the tone for our entire week. So welcome to the Sunday Morning Club, the show dedicated to intentional living and personal growth. I'm Faye Chappell, and on behalf of all of us here at Elevated Living, I invite you to take this time for yourself to find your center and fill up your cup. I'm so glad you're here. All right, get comfortable, take a breath, give yourself the grace for all the effort you have put in this week, and let's learn how to make that effort feel as good as it is. So hopefully you have your warm lemon water, your ginger, your tea, maybe even a coffee. Settle down, chill, and let's get started. Because today there is a modern phenomenon that I like to call productivity dysmorphia, right? Dysmorphia is really a state of really profound unease, right? It's dissatisfaction, and productivity dysmorphia is that specific unsettling feeling of being busy all day long, but having no genuine sense of accomplishment to show for it. We've all been there, right? It's the feeling of running on a hamster wheel, right? You're putting in the effort, you're sweating, you're moving, but you're not actually going anywhere. Your to-do list might be shorter, your inbox might be clearer, but you feel no satisfaction, no deep sense of the job that's really well done, right? This feeling is a quiet, powerful driver of burnout, of anxiety, and a general sense of, what's the point, right? The problem isn't that we're lazy. In fact, it's often the opposite. We're so busy responding to notifications, sitting in back-to-back meetings, answering a flood of emails that are constantly engaged in really performance work, right? Performative work, that we don't really look productive. I mean, we aren't productive. We might look productive, but we aren't really engaging in a deep, meaningful activity that truly nourishes our soul and gives us a sense of purpose. So today, we're going to go on a very gentle journey to close that gap. This isn't about adding more to your plate or finding a new productivity hack to cram more in, because we all are looking for those. This is actually a subtraction. It's about learning to distinguish the busy work from the body of work and intentionally really choosing activities that allow our efforts to match our feelings, right, of fulfillment. That's what we're really looking for. So let's check in with this feeling right now. Let's do an end of the day flashback. Okay, so close your eyes. Come on, you can do it. Close your eyes, and I want you to think back to a recent day where you were incredibly busy from morning until night. It was probably yesterday. You were active, you were working, you were doing things. Now recall the feeling you had when your head actually hit the pillow. Was it a feeling of deep, satisfied accomplishment? Or was it a feeling of exhaustion mixed with kind of a nagging sense of, I was so busy, but what did I really do? So the body's evidence is really helpful in this. What does the feeling of productivity dysmorphia feel like in your body? Is it like a hollow feeling in your stomach? Is it a restless energy in your legs? Is it a funny fuzziness kind of in your head, right? So I want you to take out your journal or in the chat, wherever you want to make a note of this. I want you to share one word that describes the physical sensation of being busy but not fulfilled. Right? So for some of us might be hollow. Hollow is a really powerful word for it, or static, right? The brain is just overwhelmed and you don't really feel like anything's accomplished. Nothing is really real. What's your word? How do you feel when you've been busy all day and accomplish nothing? Or at least that's what it feels like, that you've been busy, and you've not made a step forward. What does that feel like? I want you to really relate to that, because we all have it. I mean, if you have been busy all day for your whole life and you always feel like you've accomplished stuff, then this episode isn't for you. But if you're like the majority of us, you've had those days. So let's use our journals to really investigate what the disconnect is happening here, right? So I want you to remember, we always do prompts in our journals. So prompt number 1 is what we call the effort list. Okay. So I want you to think about your last typical workday. And on the left side of your page, you can make a list of all the things that you put effort into. And I want you to be honest. So if you sat in a meeting for 3 hours, or you answered 50 emails, or you scrolled through industry news, or you worried about a project, on that left, list everything for that one typical workday that you actually did, right? That you put effort into. Now, on the right side of the page, I want you to think a little differently. What is the tangible evidence of accomplishment from that day? What did you create? What did you complete? What did you move forward on? What is the one thing that you can point to and say, I made that happen? This list might be a little shorter, and that's okay, because that's what we're trying to explore. So the next prompt I will call the meaningful win. So I want you to look at your 2 lists, right? One is small, probably the ones that, felt like you moved forward. The meaningful activity, right? So if you did this week and you accomplished anything, this would absolutely belong on that evidence list, right? The evidence list. So what would feel like a true satisfying win, no matter how small? So for example, writing 1 page of the book you were writing, or finishing 1 small module of the online course, or having 1 deep, uninterrupted conversation, right? So really, I want you to think about it, because some of us on that win list, the meaningful win list, have nothing. So what we want to do is try to think of what you could put that would be meaningful to you, so that you could accomplish something. Because if you looked at the busy work list and it really wasn't meaningful and you didn't accomplish anything, then maybe it is just busy work. And that's what you have to start recognizing. So throughout our Sunday mornings every week, what we really are doing is we're really recognizing what we are doing, what we are thinking, what we are feeling. So we're actually paying attention instead of just getting through our day. So the more we are paying attention each week to everything, the more we will move forward in our life and make it a happier and more joyful place to be. So there is a really simple, profound distinction on those things, right? On busy work and doing something creative. There's a really great quote. I think the author is Greg McKeown, I think. And he says, if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will, right? It's the same as when we open our emails. And I always tell all our clients that email is someone else's agenda, not yours. So if you allow others to prioritize your life, then you will not do what you intend to do. Product dysmorphia is often really a result of letting someone else's priorities, like emails and meetings, run your entire day. And you haven't really stopped to think about what a win would look like for you, instead of just being busy. So let's transition a bit into a little bit of breath work to really, why do we do breath work after we take a little bit of a lesson? Because there is a systemized way that I do Sunday mornings. And it's because when you do a little breath work, you are actually taking a step and bringing everything you've just heard in. So you're allowing your mind to take that in and really understand if that is meaningful to you. So, I mean, a huge reason we feel scattered is that we move from task to task to task to task without a pause. And the breath is a tool to create an intentional transition for you, right? So that you can say, okay, let me recognize what I've been doing. Am I moving forward on something, or I do need to take a step back and say, okay, give me a little bit of time here to understand what I'm doing. So we want to take a slow, deep inhale. And for a lot of you, you close your eyes. It's entirely up to you. So we're going to take a slow, deep inhale through the nose for 4 counts. So as you inhale for 4, we hold the breath for 4, allowing our mind to arrive in that present moment. So holding for 4. And then we're going to exhale through our mouth slowly for 6. So we can let go of the previous task. So exhaling. And then just sit for silence for 2 counts. And then we're going to go again. So this is kind of a reset breath that you can do in between meetings or when you're starting a new task. Okay. So it's 4, 4, 6, 2 is the breath. And, I encourage you to do 5, maybe 5 cycles every time you just need a break between meetings. So let's just do a couple so that we reinforce what we're doing. So you're going to inhale through the nose for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling through your mouth for 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Holding for 2, 1, 2. Inhaling through your nose, 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding for 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling through your mouth for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Holding for 2. 1, 2. So you guys get that breath work now. 4, 4, 6, 2. Again, you can use any of the breath cycles that we've used in the past Sunday mornings. This is just a good one to, when you hold your breath, you allow your mind to really settle and think, what am I doing next? So you're focusing really on the breath and grounding and allowing yourself relax to get into the mode to really focus on that next task instead of moving from one to the other to the other. Okay. So again, let's settle in and close your eyes. I can see you. Close your eyes and imagine yourself at the end of a long day. But on this day, there is no dysmorphia. There is a quiet, warm, and deeply satisfying feeling of accomplishment in your chest. In your mind's eye, I want you to visualize one small, tangible thing that you completed today. It doesn't have to be a masterpiece. Perhaps you wrote a single beautifully written email that you sent, or perhaps you see a small section of your garden that you weeded and is starting to grow, or perhaps you see a single healthy, nourishing meal that you cooked for yourself instead of grabbing something out of the frozen aisle. So I want you to see this as tangible evidence that your effort is there. It's evidence of your effort. And I want you to hold that in your mind. And I want you to connect with the feeling that is evidence, that this evidence gives you, right? Maybe it's a feeling of pride or a feeling of effectiveness, a feeling of, I did that. I want you to let that warm, satisfying feeling spread throughout your body. This feeling is really something that you deserve. It is your birthright in a sense. It comes from not being busy, but from creating tangible, meaningful evidence of your effort and your intention. And I want you to really rest in that feeling of gentle, satisfying accomplishment. Can we do that? Really feel that. That is how you should feel every day when you go through your day. Do every one of your tasks with intention that you know this will work for you. I want you to gently open your eyes. And let's now move into a way that feels intentional and effective for your body. So there is a mountain pose in yoga where as you stand tall, feet flat on the floor, and your hands resting in your thighs, you feel strong and dignified, mountain, or some feeling of grounding. And you can do that sitting. I want you to sit tall, and I want you to make sure your feet are on the floor or you're comfortable, that you're feeling grounded, okay? And I want you to feel that strong, effective energy in that pose. Yes? And as you inhale, I want you to reach your right hand up and over with a clear purpose, okay? And as you exhale, I want you to exhale back to center, okay? And as you inhale, I want you to reach your arm as high as you can and exhale over to the side. What are we doing here? We're moving our body with intention. Each movement is deliberate. So as we raise and we reach forward as far as we can to the side, and then exhaling it back down. And then one more over to the side. Full of intention. Okay, so what's the difference here? So when we move with intention, we feel accomplishment. Our body knows that you're doing something to make it feel better. As opposed to me just saying, reach over to the side. That doesn't mean anything. But if I say reach over with intention, so understand what you're doing. You're stretching the side of your body. You're making yourself feel better. So it's the same thing with a focus twist. We all like our twists, right? So we want you to twist to your right, using your hands to really guide you, right? So you're going to follow your focus with that. So for some of us, we take our left hand, we move it to our right knee, and we move forward and we twist. Move our gaze, but remember, every movement we make is with full intention. So as we do a focus twist, our body feels like it's releasing that tension. These little twists make a massive difference to how you feel in the morning. You do not have to get up every morning and do a full class of something, or go for a run, or go for a walk. Sometimes just moving your body with intention is enough. That's all you need to do. So I want you to clasp your hands in front of you and stretch your arms forward, rounding your back. And then inhale, open your arms wide as if you're completing a task and opening to what's next. So closing, we're going to stretch it out, right? And as we inhale, we're ready to take on our next task. Okay, so stretching out, any stretching position will make a massive difference to how you feel for the rest of the day. So then let's just ground with some stillness. So I want you to place a hand on your stomach and a hand on your heart. Okay, and feel your breath. Feel the really solid, effective presence of your own body. You can feel your breath. Whenever you need to get focused, whenever you think you're moving through too many tasks, any of these simple movements, simple breath work, simply stopping and recognizing your heart, recognizing that you're breathing, that everything is still there in front of you, will make you associate this break with being able to really think about what your next task will be, and will it be something that you can accomplish something throughout the day and feel good about it? Because we want to combat that productivity dysmorphia, right? We need to create a real clear boundary about doing and done, right? So maybe a shutdown ritual is in the works here. Maybe that can work for you. A simple, really powerful way that we can end our workday every single day. So, if it becomes a ritual, things feel different. Sometimes, we go task to task, and at the end of the day, we rush from our desk and leave it as is, or we have to make a train, or we have to get out of the parking lot, whatever it is, or we're at home and we just leave everything and move to the next piece. So what I want you to try this week for me is, number one, is to tidy your space. Quickly tidy your desk, because that signals your brain that your work is complete, right? Put all your stuff away and you're done for the day. And then I want you to write down your done list. Instead of a to-do list, quickly write down one or two things that you accomplished that day. And I want you to acknowledge that evidence, right? So that you can feel good that you actually accomplished it. See, we usually learn a lot about writing what we need to accomplish at the beginning of the day, right? Write 3 things that we need to do. But then at the end of the day, we just kind of leave it. For what I want you to do is actually write down or check mark or say, hey, I accomplished this. This is my evidence that I was productive today. And then maybe say a closing phrase, like literally say out loud, my workday is now complete. That verbal cue is surprisingly powerful for helping your brain transition to the next task, because most of us leave our laptops open. Every time we find, a minute, we go and do something. But maybe really working out using that phrase, my workday is now complete. So I know that I'm not really good after 3 o'clock, really. After 3 o'clock, I don't make decisions. I can still work. I can be productive. I can speak. I can do most things I need to, but I know that my decision making is not so good after 3. So I have trained my brain to know that don't make any decisions after 3 if you can avoid it, because I like to start fresh in the morning. So by saying your workday is now complete, that again is that very powerful verbal cue. So I want you to really focus on shutting down for the day. You've accomplished what you did and you move on. Most of us keep our laptop open. We keep our phone going. We keep our emails going. Why? Because we feel like we didn't accomplish enough. And that's the key. That is why we have this productivity dysmorphia, right? So today, we kind of gave a name to that unsettling feeling, right? And it's a hard name, productivity dysmorphia. I don't know why I picked it, but it makes sense, right? So, but it means really being busy, but not effective. And we started to really think about that gentle work of closing that gap, right? Because your worth is not measured by your busyness, right? It's your fulfillment is often tied to tangible and meaningful impact, right? So here's your challenge for this week. I always leave you guys with a challenge. So number 1 is identify one meaningful win. So I want you to choose one small satisfying action from the journaling that you did at the beginning, right? And I want you to complete it this week. Number 2, so I want you to practice that mindful transition. So I want you to use that breath, 4-4-6-2, at least once during the day when you're switching between tasks, okay? So if you have a meeting at 9 o'clock and it's over at 10:30, I want you to do that breath work before you actually move on to whatever's coming next. And then I want you to try the shutdown ritual, because I think this is really amazing. It has worked really well for me. So for at least 3 days in this week, I'm not going to tell you every day. Let's start with 3. I want you to end your workday with that 5-minute shutdown ritual, right? I want you to tell yourself, I'm shutting down. I'm done for the day. That is going to key your brain into understanding that. And again, share all your wins either in the comments below, or if you're a part of our community, I'd love to hear from you, because it is really, really important that we tackle this before we move forward. Because remember, this is the start, as I said last week, of the new year, because September is the new January. So I really want to move forward. And next week, I want to talk about being the author of your own story, right? Like really how to stop following that script and start designing that life you love, no matter when. Doesn't matter if you've retired or you've changed jobs or you've stopped working. There is always a time to move forward. So thank you for being here. I'm Faye Chappell, and may your week be filled with less busyness and more satisfaction.
And with that, our time together comes to a close. Thank you for showing up for yourself today. Take that feeling of this space with you and let it guide your actions and reactions this week. I'm Faye Chappell on behalf of everyone here at Elevated Living. I'm wishing you a week of profound peace and clarity. This episode was produced by the City Media Group.